Hey guys, Drew Schaefer here. Uh, this weekend hurt. You know, Ohio State lost. We're not out though. So today I'm gonna go over teams playoff predictions. My personal college football predictions for the playoffs. Who's gonna win the playoffs? Everything. So at number one, I have Georgia, regardless if they don't win the SEC. They don't win the SEC. I have them at like four, but they're in either way, and if Georgia does lose to LSU, Ohio State's chances go to zero automatically, regardless of USC losing or not. That would just drop. That would put Michigan. Wait, that'd be confusing to understand. Number two, I do have Michigan. I think that playing Purdue, they're not called the spoiler makers for nothing though. So, but Purdue barely got it done last weekend, and their quarterback's kind of facing a tough time right now with his brother dying. So, say Michigan and Georgia probably 100% chance to make it. They're locked. Now, here's where things get interesting. TCU will have to try and beat Kansas State again. So, I think TCU will be number three. TCU is a surprise team, Big 12 team. They don't usually make it. Last time Big 12 team made it was like 20, I believe 19 with Oklahoma. Oklahoma's pretty good. Well, it was pretty good. And then here's the thing: the number four spot is up for grabs with um, USC. Of course, anything could happen. If USC loses, then it's Ohio State that will take that position. USC did lose to Utah this season by one, which is why I only have them at a 57% chance to make a playoff spot, because a loss, you're out because you're number four. Now, Ohio State, I have them at a 22%. I mean, not the highest percentage, but I think that they still have a minor chance. These aren't going to add up to 100, probably. And Alabama, they would have had to have been ranked ahead of Ohio State. Now, they could hope that TCU does lose by like a big margin to Kansas State and USC loses, because then their season would still be alive. They'd get number four. They'd face number one Georgia. Ohio State would face number two Michigan, which would be a crazy matchup. You know, Tennessee, realistically, I don't think that Tennessee has a chance, because even with TCU losing, let's say everything goes catastrophic. If Georgia loses and Michigan loses and TCU loses, USC loses, who would you put in number one? Because you have these one-loss teams that just lost to good opponents, as where it's kind of confusing. I just, yeah, it's weird. I think I don't know what happened then. So Tennessee's not going to make it at all. 0% chance. Same with Penn State and LSU. Clemson 0%. Kansas State 0%. Washington 0. Oregon, Utah, Florida State, USC, Oregon State, Tulane, Notre Dame, Texas, USF, North Carolina, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and the NC State Wolfpack have no chance to make the college football playoffs. Even if Tulane does win, like, their championship week game, they just have a 0% chance because they're ranked too low. Like, if Tulane hadn't lost this season and they were like good, they probably would have been a top 10 team, probably a little bit of a chance. That's just realistically. So now we got to go to who I think is going to win. And realistically, here's my playoffs for you. Georgia, then Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State sneaks their way in there. I know I'm not biased. I just think Utah's going to get the best of USC. And I think Alabama will be ranked 5th by the end of the year. Unless USC loses by like a field goal, then they'd probably be ranked 5th. I mean, I don't see them dropping too much. Let's get into this. So, the first game would be number 1 versus number 4, which would be... No, I think that would be the last game, actually. All right, so it would be number 2. I'm just going to say it. Doesn't matter. So, number 1, Georgia versus number 4, Ohio State. Georgia would probably get the best of us in this game. Mainly due to the fact that, Ohio State lost to Michigan. And Ohio State's not going to beat Georgia. Georgia's a really good team. No matter how you look at it at all. Like, they're just too good. I don't really have a score, but if I had to predict, it would be like 38-21. I think the Buckeyes do keep it relatively close. It's not close enough to win. At least they made it. They get to enjoy their season. Now, number 2 and number 3, Michigan and TCU. I think Michigan will beat TCU because Michigan is way better than TCU. TCU snuck into the playoffs this year. Of course, the Horned Frogs did only give them the Cyclones. TCU has a good defense, so it'll be interesting. Michigan has a good offense and defense. I'd say probably around 42-14, probably the final score there. Michigan blows them out of the water. I hate to say that as an Ohio State fan, but we gotta be realistic here. We can't just spread lies like this. And then it would be number 1 versus number 2. Give me Georgia. I think Georgia's the better team. Georgia's gonna win the national championship. It's gonna be a good one. I think it'd be like 45-42. High scoring game for a national championship game. I know that hasn't happened in a long, long time. But, what do you guys think? Who do you think should be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4? Who do you think is going to go to the playoffs? Who do you think is going to win the playoffs? I mean, what if Ohio State does win it all? Doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, their season basically took a hit when they lost to Michigan. But, if they would have moved down to 6, then they would have been out. But they moved down to 5, so... I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully, it'll probably be NFL predictions or college football bowl game predictions. So I'll see you guys later.